100 gonna be this week? Oh my gosh, I would rather stick knives in my eyes. It's not just sending 100 messages that's going to get you a 12% conversion rate or a 30% conversion rate. It's the quality in which the message you send has behind it. So the way to really up level your ability to sell and connect to people is figuring out what their hopes and dreams are, then what they deal with because they don't have those hopes and dreams. So an example of this. I never once in my whole career aimed to message 100 people a week ever. And this is something that I think I want to offer it to everyone that's listening to stop messaging 100 people. And what I mean by that is stop counting, because it doesn't matter how many you message. It matters what you do with the ones that respond. And so it's not that it takes 100 messages. It's not, and I know it's a numbers game. I mean, I'm the first one. I've studied sales for the last decade, really a lot more closely in the last 2 years. But when you look at sales, sure, it's a numbers game. There's conversion rates, there's percentages that you can rely on. I know that if 30 people show up to a call, there's going to be 6 that are going to convert to a sale. Average, if it's above average, we might have 10 out of 30 join, right? Like those are my conversion numbers that I can rely on. It's pretty standard. However, when you look at the way in which you do it, it matters. It's not just sending 100 messages that's going to get you a 12% conversion rate or a 30% conversion rate. It's the quality in which the message you send has behind it that does that. So the way to really up level your ability to sell and connect to people is figuring out what their hopes and dreams are, then what they deal with because they don't have those hopes and dreams. So an example of this, I couldn't order the products because we couldn't afford it. Why? Because my husband was working 3 jobs, 6 days a week, and we were living paycheck to paycheck, and we had $125,000 in debt. Yeah, I couldn't afford it. That was all I could see. But what were my hopes and dreams beyond what I could see? Well, what I really wanted was Sean to be home on Saturdays so that we could make pancakes and I could sleep in. What I really wanted was, instead of my husband coming home at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday after working 16-hour days from Monday through Friday, what I really wanted was for us to have a family day where we could spend time together, where he could mow the lawn with the boys and they could be out playing and we could be enjoying the day together, rather than he gets home, he mows, I hurry and get out the door to go to the grocery store without the kids. We're trying to do laundry. We're trying to fit in an entire week's worth of family time into just 4 or 5 hours. And because my hopes and dreams were not being fulfilled, I had sort of lost any sort of belief that the American dream even existed for us anymore, because my husband wasn't in sales. He wasn't like a medical doctor. He wasn't an attorney. He wasn't a dentist. Like, in my mind, those were the jobs that we should have gone after, not physical therapist. And so then, like, I resented that he didn't make more. It was a degree that was a $200,000 degree, the same as a dentist, but yet not paid the same. So I would resent that, right? And then when I would see my friends post on social media about their 10-year anniversary trip to Hawaii, I'd be like, well, that'd be nice. And then they'd take their kids to Disneyland. I was like, I'm never going to have that. And so it was, and like my sponsor, she didn't even know to sell this well because we had no experience whatsoever. But when done really, really well with knowledge of how to sell well, it would have been, I can't afford it. Oh my gosh. You live paycheck to paycheck? Yeah, I do. Oh my gosh. What hopes and dreams do you still have for your life? Like, tell me what you really still want for your life. I know you can't like have everything that you want right now, but like, what are your hopes and dreams that you have for the future? Like when you do have more money one day, or, you know, if that ever does work out for you. And then I would be like, oh my gosh, well, you know, I want to have like my dream house. We want to build a pool. We want to like go to Disneyland. I want to go on a trip with Sean. That was everything I wanted. And I really wanted to like be out of student loan debt. I talked about it all the time. And then it would have been, okay, well, because you can't have those things. Like what happens with your life? Well, I'm home all the time by myself. I'm so exhausted. I'm depleted mentally, emotionally, physically. Like I feel like I'm doing everything and there's all these kids and, you know, Sean just sleeps here basically, you know, and he's such an amazing father. And I feel like they're not getting that amazing human being because he's always gone at work, you know, and so that we're missing out on raising them the way we always dreamed of raising them, right? So you take them really high with all their hopes and dreams, and you take them really low with all of the things that they can't have because they don't have those right now, you know. And then it's like leave a voice message. Well, I want you to imagine, you know, 1 year from now, your husband being home on Saturdays and him making pancakes while you sleep in. And I want you to imagine like having enough money to go to the grocery store and buy whatever you want. And I want you to imagine going on a free vacation to Hawaii with your husband. Just you, no kids. I want you to imagine that your kids have their dad in their life every single day. That's what this is. You buy this welcome kit today on your credit card, and I'll show you how to have all that 1 year from today. How would you like to feel that way 1 year from today? Oh man, I would have been in so much faster. The reason why I'm crying, you guys, is I just literally like did it on myself as I was sitting here. And like, that was my dream life. A year after saying yes to network marketing, we had all of that because I said yes. Because I sold myself on those desires. My sponsor didn't really know how to do that back then. Now she does. But like, when you sell people on what they really want, their hopes and dreams, and you're like, this is how you get it. 1 year from today, you're going to have all that. Like when I said yes, October of 2015, a year later, we had all of that. We had all of it. Like, that is amazing. That's what network marketing does. And there's literally no overhead. Like, yeah. you literally $0 to run your business in network marketing. It does not cost $0 to run Beyond the Rank, you guys. It costs $30,000 a month to run this company, just in case anyone has ever wondered. That is not the same as starting up a network marketing business. And that's not even like, it doesn't cost that much unless you want it to grow, right? So those of you are like, oh, I don't want to be a coach anymore. Yes, you do. Because it didn't cost that much in the beginning. It's because we're scaling from like 1.5 million to 3 million. So now we got to put money into it for it to make money. And I did that in my network marketing business too. I remember when there were years that I just would like put money on my credit card to buy products to get my PV up so I could earn the shopping spree. Because I was like, I'm going to be in that room. I'm not missing out on this. I want to be able to post about it so people will know how big of a deal I am, that I'm winning all this cool stuff. Like those of you that like were like, I'm getting on that cruise, I'm earning that upper cabin room, like, so that you can post about it and you can be like, look, I'm a big deal. Like, I'm good at this, like leverage that, even if it's not as big as a room or a shopping spree or whatever, leverage whatever you can. Like, oh, I had 5 people join my team last week. Who's next? Are you next? So what I did is I was constantly thinking about, not constantly, but like anytime I was driving carpool or anytime that I was like in the car, which was a lot back then, I would sit and I would daydream. This is why people get so burnt out, is they think they have to sit in front of their computer and work for a certain amount of hours, but it's not required. Like it's stay curious. There's one thing I want you to remember outside of you're never behind. It's curiosity is the ace up your sleeve, because it's you doing other things, thinking about, man, if she joined my team, then this would happen. She has all these skills that I know would be so good. Or if she took these products, she would feel better because I know what it does. And this, that, and the other. If she orders this from me, this is going to happen in her life. She's going to feel this peace. She's going to have this result, whether it's candles or oils or gut health or whatever it is. Like you love something about your product. And if someone else buys it, what is their joy going to be because they bought it from you? It's fantasizing that moment for them. And then it's you getting really curious. What could I say to get her interested? And then it's you pretending in your mind, well, if I said this to her, what would she say? Well, she'd probably ignore that message. Okay, what could I say to not get her to annoy? Could I say less? Could I say more? Like, if I sent this type of a message, I've been ignored before on that. So how could I shift it just a little bit so I could get her to say yes or be interested? How could I reel it in just enough to get enough interest? And so it's being really curious and learning from your mistakes of what didn't work and how you could shift it just a hair, get a different result. And the only way to figure this out is experience. Like I can sit on here with you and write messages, and I can have my phone here and I can pretend to write them like, no, wait, delete, no, not that, no, that, because then she'll say this, no, not that. And you'll see me go through that when I'm writing a message to people where I'm like, no, we got to erase that. No, that's not good. It's because I've done it so many times and I have so many people tell me no and ignore me. Because again, never aiming to hit 100 messages a week. I'm always just, who's next? Who's next? Who's next? I don't want you focused on the 100. I want you focused on who's next. Who's the next one? Who's the next one? And if you can just focus on who the next one is, instead of who are the 100 going to be this week? Oh my gosh, I would rather stick knives in my eyes. I have never. I mean, I made my original list of 100, but then I just like, I still have it somewhere, you guys. But then it's like, after that, it was just like, who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? So much so that I would forget who I had messaged. Because I would go back and be like, ooh, what about them? And I'd go back and I'd be like, oh, they ignored the message I sent last time. Cool. What could I say to get them to respond now? Did you see my message? Did my voice message come through okay? Yeah. And then with more confidence came like the phase where I was like, did the aliens take you? And then I grew out of that phase. And then I was like, can you see this? Ha ha. And then it was like, it's not like you to not respond. Why aren't you messaging me back? And then it was like more confidence. And it was like, hey, it's totally fine if you're not interested, but like when you don't respond, I think you're dead. So are you okay? Right? Then you get a little bit pushy and a little bit bossy and more assertive. When you're anxiously engaged in the endeavor of who's next, and a belief, a genuine belief, which I've always had, which is everyone is always going to come around if I'm just patient enough. And if I just find the right words in a post and invite them to an event and continue to reach out, eventually somebody's going to come.